news story of the night. Thought we'd just have a little chat about Mad Max for a second. So, Furiosa is coming out next Friday, I believe. We will be entering the gates of Valhalla next Friday. Witness me. Very excited for Furiosa. But this one is obviously a film without Mad Max. It says Mad Max Saga, but no Mad Max will be involved with this one so far, as we know. I haven't seen the film. But the film has just been premiered in Cannes, and the reviews have started coming out for Furiosa now, and it's getting, I think IGN gave it a 10 out of 10, if I believe.
Did they?
Yeah, they really loved it.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they gave Fury Road. I'd be quite interested to find out what they gave that. But yeah, he was getting interviewed at Cannes Film Festival. George Miller won't rule out another Mad Max movie as Furiosa team meets the press in Cannes. And I just wanted to scroll down to this little quote he had. So he was getting interviewed and he came out with, "There are certainly other stories there, mainly because in order to tell the story of Fury Road, we had to know the backstory of Furiosa and Max the year before." Miller, when asked if he has more Mad Max movies left in the tank, that was the tool for the cast and crew. We know the Max story from the year before. I'll definitely wait to see how Furiosa goes before we even think about it. So I just wanted to get, are we excited for Furiosa, and are we excited at the prospect of possibly a new Mad Max entry after Furiosa? And do we want to see Mad Max in the center role with this new film? And do we think Tom Hardy will be coming back? Because obviously, if you're aware, Fury Road, that was a bad shoot, I think, for most people involved. It was obviously infamous that Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy had a bit of a spout throughout that shooting of that film. So it was obviously a tough one. But George Miller actually come out and spoke about that and said there was no excuse for it quite recently. But yeah, guys, how are we feeling about Furiosa? Are we excited? And would we like to see another one of these? And do we want to see Mad Max in the role? Andy, I'll go to you first for this one, mate.
Yes. Hell yes. I want to see more Mad Max. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for Furiosa. Is it Furiosa or is it Furiosa? Furiosa. Yeah, so no, I think I'm believing the hype. So it seems to be everybody that's seen it is raving about it. And I don't see why it wouldn't be good. It's the same people behind Fury Road, isn't it? So there's no reason why it shouldn't be good. So yeah, but I do think it'd be nice to get back to. I'm saying that before I've even seen Furiosa, but I do think it'd be nice at some point to return. At the end of the day, it's still billed as a Mad Max. Is it a Mad Max story or a Mad Max saga or something?
Saga.
Yeah, Mad Max saga.
Yeah, saga. So it'd be nice to return to the main character at some point, because as much as he's in Fury Road, we learn literally nothing about him. He's just a kind of stoic, silent figure, and I think George Miller's relying on the previous films and people's existing knowledge of the franchise to kind of fill in the gaps. Yeah. But if you're coming to Mad Max Fury Road, maybe as a younger person who's not watched the older films, because let's face it, they're a good 40 years old now. And you don't really know much about Max, I know. So you don't know much about Max. So I think it is important to revisit it and kind of redo the backstory, if you like, and maybe add something to it as well. What he's been up to since then. So I think it'd be good. Yeah, I'm definitely on board for more Max.
Cool, man. Jimmy, what are your overall thoughts on the Mad Max, franchise? And would you want to see what's your are you looking forward to Furiosa? Is it one on your list to see this year? And if so, would you want to see Tom Hardy reprise his role as Mad Max?
Furiosa is definitely on my list of films to see this year. I think Fury Road was, I can't remember what else came out that year specifically, but I'd be, Fury Road was probably the best film of that year. I'm sure Empire Film gave it best film of that decade. I think
Yeah.
that is a phenomenal film. I just remember just being blown away in the cinema. Like, I think I saw that the day it came out, and I was like, I need to see that again. And then I saw it on the Sunday again, like, just because I was like, I need to watch that again. So I was a huge fan of that. When they announced that they were doing a Furiosa movie, initially I was like, I mean, it's a prequel and it's not about Mad Max. That doesn't seem like a good idea. But the more I kind of thought about it, and then once I saw the trailers, I was like, no, I'm so the trailer sold it for me right away. But if you think about Fury Road, even though it's called Mad Max Fury Road, Mad Max, like Max Rockatansky, or if that isn't, he's a passenger in that movie. Like, if you take him out of the movie, the events more or less happen the same way. Like,
Yeah,
I think that was kind of low key by design by George Miller. He called it Mad Max Fury Road, but really Fury Road is it's at least as much Furiosa's story as it is Max's story, I reckon. So when you think about it in that context, a prequel with Furiosa makes more sense. So I'll happily go and see Furiosa. Very much looking forward to it. I'll be happy if they make any movies based in that universe, because that's, I mean, the Fury Road movie was just phenomenal. It takes a lot to like make a, I don't want to say game changing movie, but like, what else before or since has been like that movie?
Other than
Yeah.
the Road Warrior.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically just the Road Warrior on like steroids, isn't it? It's kind of like,
Yeah, 100%.
I thought it was kind of like, here's the Road Warrior. Everyone loved the Road Warrior, but look what we can do now with that same concept.
Yeah.
In 2014, 2015, that's basically what Fury Road was, in my opinion. But better, because it probably the supporting cast were probably more interesting. But the Road Warrior is definitely a film about Max. You know, there's a bit of development for Max, there's redemption for Max, kind of thing. Whereas I think Jimmy's right in what he's saying, that he's almost a supporting character in Fury Road.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made. He is sort of like that in that original trilogy as well. So, like in the Road Warrior, he doesn't have a lot of lines of dialogue in the Road Warrior, does he? I think like as Mad Max as the main character is the most in the first one. So that one from 79 or 78, whenever it come out, he's like the main character in that one. You see his family die and stuff like that in that one. I personally think that's where he gets the most growth, is in that first movie, that origin sort of story. But yeah, man, Badger, Mad Max, are you a fan of this franchise? Are you looking forward to Furiosa?
Absolutely.
Where are your thoughts on this one, mate?
Well, I'm not too well versed in this franchise because I've only seen the first one on Fury Road. I need to see the second and third one. I need to get on it. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the first one. Much bigger fan of the fourth one. Absolutely, it's one of the most impressive looking films I've ever seen. Really is the outcome of just having too much of an imagination. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell this guy who made it just did not grow up ever since he was a kid. He still has that childlike imagination. How he thought of all of that is just insane. Sorry, who's the director again? Miller? George Miller. There you go. Yeah, so I'm so impressed with his resume of films because he is eclectic as fuck, man. You know what I mean? From Happy Feet to Babe.
I know.
Yeah.
So he does
Babe,
everything.
did he?
Yeah, so
he
does everything. He's mental. So and he's now like 80 odd and he's still just donning it. Do you know what I mean? He's in his prime and he's like in his 80s or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you just be human, please? You cheeky, cocky mofo. What the fuck? So it's mental. I'm so impressed that he's still doing this, pumping life into his franchise. And I do not think Tom Hardy will be in this, but I'm not too fussed if he will be, because I didn't think he was that special in the fourth film. Obviously, he was great in it, but it wasn't his film. It was Charlize Theron's film. And she kicked ass in that film. She was just so fucking good in it. Her missing that arm and still just dominating the screen. I was like, just give me this. Badass. So absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not too fussed about him returning. Don't think he will. But if he does, cool. And I hope for many more films in this universe, because why should a universe this epic and fantastic and abstract, why should it be relegated to just having a few characters and a few movies? Give us more of this, man. You're going to give us 1,000 Marvel films.
What's Master Blaster doing, man? But extra bonus question for you with this one. Would you like, I know he's like a terrible guy, but I would sort of love to see like an old haggard Mel Gibson back in the role again. I know it would never, ever, ever happen, but it could. It's not like out of the question.
I very much think it could happen. I think in terms of like public opinion and whatnot, I think he could make a comeback. Like,
he's done some brilliant work, like in the last 10 years. I don't know if you've seen it, but Dragged Across Concrete and
it's brilliant.
It's awesome film, and Mel Gibson's great in him.
Man.
He wasn't in that cell block film, was he? He wasn't in that, was he?
No. But it's the same director. Totally mixed up with that.
But no, he wasn't in that one, was he? Right.
Mel Gibson was. Mel Gibson was Vincent Vaughn. You're thinking of, but Mel Gibson was in Dragged Across Concrete.
No, he's talking about Brawl Cell Block 99.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up. I'm shutting up. I'm just being.
I've not seen Dragged Across Concrete. I remember reading that.
It's good.
I fancied it, and then I read a review for it saying that it was quite a kind of difficult, grim.
It's a slow burn.
But like in a good way.
I wouldn't say it put me off, but it maybe kind of. I could have put it further down the pile.
Andy, I think you'd enjoy that one. Definitely, he plays like a crooked cop in it, man. It's really good, man. Sick.
I like Mel Gibson. I know he's had some very troublesome views, but I mean, the guy was an alcoholic, so
exactly.
I think, to my knowledge, I don't think there's been any flare-ups with his behaviour in the last 10, 15 years. I'm quite sure he's changed his views.
I think
I get that stuff rightly follows you around. Like, it shouldn't be brushed under the carpet, but
of course,
I think people could deserve a second chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, in the court of public opinion, I think he's redeemable. Like, I don't think he's beyond redemption in terms of like his whether or not he has changed or not, or he's just presents himself. Whether or not it's genuine or not, like I think his public persona is redeemable. I don't think he's not done anything that's like irredeemable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I honestly think that the two roles that would get him out of the bad camp would either be another Lethal Weapon film, which I think's past its sell-by date now. I think Richard Donner was on about doing it before he died, then saying Mel Gibson would be a good director for it. Can't see that happening personally now, but Mad Max is like, we'll talk about a story later on that we're going to get to, but it's a similar sort of situation where Mad Max is an older, grizzled, like old man Logan style. I think it could work, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If he gets a line as badass as like you gotta hack through your ankle, so if he gets a line like that,
I'd love to see Mel Gibson back in Mad Max. And I think sometimes people that have been kind of like fallen from grace that way, like your Robert Downey Jr.'s and stuff. Sometimes they need a role or they need to revisit a role, and I think like the Mad Max role would be good for Mel Gibson because it's a troubled character who's lost his humanity, and in many ways you could round out the arc by bringing Mel Gibson back, and in the end finds it somehow maybe and passes it on to the new Max or whatever. And sometimes life imitates art or art imitates life. It's kind of like it would work because you're also thinking about Mel Gibson's actual life in the background, and sometimes I think that can make it even more powerful. So it's kind of I think that'd be a good role for him.
Ben Affleck did something similar where he played like a recovering alcoholic, and it was sort of like a semi
Way back, was it?
Yeah, I think it was that. It was about basketball or something like that.
Yeah, it's called Finding the Way Back over here, but in America it's called The Way Back. I've got it on Blu-ray just there.
I've not seen it, but I've heard people say it's quite good.
Yeah, it's great. I really like it.
I totally wouldn't be surprised if Max cameos in Furiosa. Like, I wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so it's set. Does it say like what is it? 20 years maybe before Fury Road? I'm just guessing, just based on like the ages of the actresses. But so it's set like 15, 20 years before. So
it must be.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Max cameo in Furiosa.
Like a silhouette in the background or something.
Yeah,
like good or bad, it's gonna work.
Aye. When does that come out? In wait, here is it next
Just
Friday?
like 2 weeks. Next Friday.
Next
Next
Friday.
Friday, yeah.